Steven Crowder is doing really well right now over on Rumble numbers wise, and regardless of how you feel about what he does in his personal life, I understand that a lot of people get mad at the way he handled certain situations, but regardless of that, I think he's done really well, not just for his own personal brand, but also for common sense, for freedom of speech, and for the right wing as a whole. And this video is just another piece of proof of that. As you can see, the title of this tweet says BlackRock is in control of every single politician, including the president, and this is referring to the James O'Keefe story that just dropped exposing BlackRock. Let's check this out, man. Hopefully I don't get in too much trouble for posting this video, but I just think it's really interesting, and it's a story that definitely needs more of a signal boost. So if you could leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts, and also hit the subscribe button. I think it's like 92% of my viewers are unsubscribed from my channel, so if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell, I'd appreciate that. Let's check out Steven Crowder's clip. We also have a couple more clips after this as well, talking about this deep dive into this James O'Keefe story, also featuring James O'Keefe himself.
Everything here involves insider trading, buying politicians, being beholden to China, pulling the strings with your government. And keep in mind that BlackRock is one of those companies that the wonderful socialist Elizabeth Warren said needs to be deemed too big to fail. The person who believes in equitable distribution wants to ensure that a multi-trillion-dollar company gets bailouts. Why? Because it's always about control. Here's the first clip in James' undercover investigation into BlackRock. I highly recommend you go to his channels and watch all of it.
Introducing Serge Varley, whose LinkedIn says he's worked for Morgan Stanley, Citadel, and now as a recruiter at BlackRock. Serge tells us who really runs the world, how they do it, and just how much it costs to buy people, like politicians.
Let me tell you, it's not through who's the president. It's who's controlling the wallet. It's the,
and who's that?
The hedge funds, BlackRock, the banks. These guys run the.
Now, I don't know if he exclusively stings gay guys, but I've noticed a trend.
So that's a BlackRock employee himself. On his LinkedIn profile, it said that he worked for BlackRock, as you saw earlier on in this clip. That's a BlackRock employee coming out and confirming everything that we have been saying for the last few years. Why Bud Light hires people like Dylan Mulvaney. It's for the ESG stuff. Why Target does stuff like having naked trans people on children's clothes. It's for ESG. It's to gain the good favor of people like BlackRock, because that's who really runs the world. And I know that it's kind of taboo to say stuff like that, but nowadays it's becoming kind of mainstream, to be honest. A lot of people know this, and it seems like they don't even care. Like, nobody cares. It's just fully mask off at this point, because everybody's so worried about fighting between the races, between the sexes, all that other stuff, that we're not actually focusing on who the real enemy is. It's these people, and that's how they want it. And the more that we get divided within ourselves, between ourselves, the more mask off they can be, because they know that we won't care as much as the battle that's going on between, like I said, the races and the sexes and transgender versus non-transgender. All that stuff is just a distraction so that they can be more and more mask off, so they can be more out in the open with their stuff that they're doing. And I mean, this dude is out on a date or something. He's meeting up with somebody that he's meeting for the first time, and just telling them all about how his company runs the world, how his company controls the president and politicians. It's insane. We also have another clip from James O'Keefe and Steven Crowder. This stuff is mind-blowing to me. Let me know in the comments if I'm overreacting. But I mean, it's not just this clip from James O'Keefe, which, by the way, James O'Keefe is really back now. Like, this is probably the first big story that he's done ever since leaving Project Veritas. So I'm really happy for him that he's able to get big stories like this. It's really good to see James O'Keefe come back with a bang like this. But I think that this is a huge story, not just this actual clip that James O'Keefe got. Just the fact that there's companies, there's corporations out there that are controlling the president, that are controlling the politicians that run the world. That's insane to me, that these people are just out here saying that on dates. Like, they don't even care anymore, man. They know that we know, and they don't care that we know. They're still going to do it because, like I said, we're too focused on fighting little meaningless battles between ourselves, too focused on that to actually stop these people from doing what they're doing. But, you know, we're making changes. We're trying our best with the Bud Light boycotts, with the Target boycotts. We have to really make these companies heard for actually trying to chase the validation, chase that money from BlackRock. Let's check out what else James O'Keefe and Steven Crowder have to say here.
Ordinarily, people think we get them drunk, but they're just so arrogant, and they want to. It's almost like the Catholic confession. Like, they just want to. They just need someone to spill all their secrets to. But obviously, this guy Serge Varley, he almost looks like what a Saturday Night Live sketch writer would write about a BlackRock Wall Street sleazy recruiter guy, because he says all the things that, you know,
right,
you'd suspect that he would say, but he says it.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, that's what I said earlier. It's like we already know this stuff in the back of our heads, but to see an actual BlackRock employee or from one of these companies that we know actually controls the world, controls the politicians that actually do control the world, to see one of their employees just come out and straight up say, yeah, like this is what we do. This is how you control the world. You don't control the president. You control the president's wallet, and therefore you control the president. So it's insane to see these corporations just be so open about it. Like James O'Keefe said, it's like Catholic confession. It's like they've been itching. They've been wanting to tell somebody about this so badly. And who knows how many other people he's told the same thing to try to kind of brag about how, who he works for and stuff like that didn't have a camera on him recording. I'm sure these people are out there all the time just telling all kinds of people the stuff that they do. And that's probably how it gets out in the first place. They're just not recorded saying it. Let me know what you guys think though about James O'Keefe's first big story since leaving Project Veritas and forming his new media group. I think this was a big one, man. I think this was a good one. It's it seems like back to James O'Keefe's old ways, and shout out to Steven Crowder for platforming this and giving it the signal boost that it deserves. I think Steven Crowder on Rumble is probably a perfect platform for him because he can be totally himself. He can be totally the unhinged Steven Crowder, and his content's not always for me. I'm not always a huge fan of every single piece of content that he does, but stuff like this I really do appreciate, and bringing more eyes on the things like this. And like I said, he's done great things. Whether or not you agree with the things that he's done in his personal life, he's done great things to further common sense in the world today, because we need as much of that as we can possibly get. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments about Steven Crowder, these couple of Steven Crowder clips with James O'Keefe talking about that big story with BlackRock.